Hello all, my name is James Cason and I will be pitching a proposal for the Pimlico Fishery and Family Restoration Organization. The issue with the Pimlico Community Pond is the sustainability of life in the pond. Surprisingly, the 57-acre pond is on average about 4 foot deep, which is problematic for fish population. Also, there is an overpopulation of grass carp, which is affecting the survival of other fish by eating most of the vegetation and making the water less oxygenated. Because of this, there is a huge lack of fishing amongst the community, but the Pimlico Fishery and Family Restoration Organization proposed a 5-year plan to restock the fish population, conduct testing and analysis of the fertilization of the pond, reshaping the regional areas of the pond to better suit an ideal fish environment, and begin a maintenance plan. Here's a list of the current problems that the organization proposal plans to fix. From a residential standpoint, many families are moving to the community and being let down by the lack of the ability to fish the large, seemingly deep pond. With residents repeatedly not being able to catch sizable or in most cases any fish, the community is feeling discouraged, leading many to not even attempt to fish. As so, families are not spending the time outdoors that they should with their significant others or children, and are missing out on valuable and irreplaceable family time. Being the fact that I grew up on a lake fishing all the time with my family, fishing is one of the best ways to enjoy time and create a better bond. To fix the issue residents are having with the inability to fish, the problems with the pond have to be addressed. The Pimlico Pond is not a sound environment for a thriving fish population. The major problem being the depth of the pond is merely an average about 4 foot deep. Only 3% of the 57-acre pond is deeper than 4 feet, and for a suitable ecosystem, 75% needs to be deeper than 4 feet, leaving the 25% meant to feed the shallows, allowing for breeding and spawning. Due to being so shallow, the bottom of the pond is very barren and exposed. With no channels or mounds, fishing have a hard time hunting and finding a place to hide. And finally, the depleting amount of vegetation in the pond. Because of the out of balance fish population, the carp seem to be the only thriving fish in the pond, eating all the vegetation and therefore depleting the amount of dissolved oxygen in the water. The decreasing oxygen levels also heavily contribute to the survival of any breed of fish in the pond. The goal here is to make the Pimlico Pond a sustainable environment for fish and vegetation, and by doing this, the community will have the healthy and plenty fish in the pond to fish with their families. To reach this goal, we have to have both a sound 5-year plan and the full support of the neighborhood residents to volunteer their time and efforts to reach our common goal. Doing all these things will not only create a happy, outdoor active community, it will be teaching our younger residents. And the proposed method is a collaboration of research and first-hand ideas to guide us to the desired outcome while doing as little damage to the surrounding environment as possible. Reshaping the bottom of the pond will help promote a working, livable environment for fish. Making sure not to reform the terrain more than about 10 feet deep will minimize the risk of mass kills from any sudden flips in the thermocline layer. During this process, we plan to add additional features to the bottom of the pond, such as channels, mounds, islands, spawning grounds, and drop-offs. The making of shelters and attractors for fish is a cost-effective step in this project. By using brush, reeds, trees, and buildable wooden structures, the community can create many different kinds of shelters and attractors. While serving their designated purpose, these shelters will also aid in the growth of vegetation for plankton to produce dissolved oxygen level at a higher rate. After reforming the pond terrain, finalizing the pond floor and chemistry verifications will come next. When finalizing the pond floor, there will need to be distribution of large rocks and old scrap concrete for placement on some drops and slopes. Also, the spawning grounds and tops of shallow mounds will need pea gravel. Then lastly placed would be the strategic placement of the shelters and attractors, which will be based on further development with experts. As for the chemistry verification, we will lastly need the pond check for any chemical out of balance and identify if any problems or changes will possibly become present. The final step to the proposed plan is stocking the pond with correct species and population ratios. With research, it was found that for the pond recommendations are 28.5 thousand bluegills, 2,850 largemouth bass, and 1,425 channel catfish. During the entire process, we want to educate the community and provide many opportunities to volunteer and become more knowledgeable about the ecosystem being built. This project will be monitored and evaluated continuously, making sure that the successful progress is being made and to avoid any possible issues. There will be a strict monitoring of the pond, chemically and fish population wise after the project is completed. Plans to educate residents of the community about the new ecosystem will be implemented during the whole process. Preceding every completed phase, the organization will hold reevaluation meetings to monitor budget and progress. Along with that, frequent progress reports will be sent to the coordinator to make sure that the project is staying on budget and on time. A plan for the fertilization is also ready if need be, recording proper dosages. With all that being said, this now brings us to the proposed budget. The estimated total cost of this is an approximate $5,679,902. It is important to note that the budget was strictly prepared by the research of the Pimlico Fishery and Family Restoration Organization, and we are aware of the potential changes to the budget that may need to be adjusted by professionals from their respective departments. The organization has reached out to the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources and made sure everything is following state guidelines and stays within regulations. Members of the organization and community have ties with the city permitting council and plan to utilize them in favor of the proposed project. Additionally, the organization has reached out to many local organizations that specialize in the education of environments and wildlife to orchestrate seminars for the community. Concluding, the proposal offers so much more than a lake for fishing. It will unite the community doing something they all want to see succeed. It will create a sustainable ecosystem for many fish to thrive in, and it will create a place for so many lifelong memories and experiences of the community and their families to be made.